Hello, this is Wmpyr. Okay, so I just got a question from a buddy of mine, and he is thinking of getting some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training. I was kind of surprised when he said this because it's not really one of his to-go styles. He learned a little bit of it already, so he's not a complete beginner, but at the same time, it's not really his thing. But anyway, I totally support and encourage him to do it. Um, and he said this, right. He said, so if I think Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is better than Captain Fairbairn's method, and this is something that I thought it would be good to explain my viewpoint to you guys. Okay, so combat to me is divided into three types of combat, and that is assault, fighting, and self-defense. Okay, and Captain Fairbairn's method is assault. It's an assault method, and something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is something I would call fighting. Okay, so any combat sport to me is fighting. That's what you're learning. You're learning fighting skills. So I don't care if it's Olympic Taekwondo or Olympic wrestling, judo, sambo. Uh, these are all sport styles because sambo can be divided into combat sambo and sport sambo. But I'm talking about sport sambo. So all the sport martial arts, combat sports, are fighting styles, in my opinion. And in it, one of the things that I think is important is in combat sports, in order to give some, you have to be able to take some. So you need defense. You do need the ability to take hits. It's going to be an exchange, whether it's exchange of technique or exchange of aggression or exchange of force. It's an exchange. It's a struggle. That's a sport. It's competitive. It's competition. Competitive means it's not going to be one-sided. So if it was going to be one-sided, they would put, like right here, they would put Ken Shamrock up against a 80-pound, or they would put Hoist Gracie up against a white belt. It has to be competitive, meaning if you're in the top 10, that's who you're going to be fighting, the people in the top 10. They're not going to put you rank number 5 versus rank number 30 or something like that. That's not what competitive means, right? So you're not going to have an Olympic gold medalist go up against, a high school wrestler. No, Olympic is going to be going up against other Olympic caliber, or at the very least, NCAA champions and stuff, right? So what I'm saying is, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a struggle, back and forth, right? It's not going to be easy. So that is a fight. An assault is, you don't really need defense for an assault. Assault is one-sided. And an assault is not going to help you in a fight, because fight, you need to be able to take some in order to give some. And in an assault, if you were going to use Captain Fairbairn's method in the UFC, how would you do it? You would assault the guy at the press conference. You would assault the guy in the weigh-ins. You would assault him before the fight happens, in the elevator. That's an assault. And that's how you do it when the guy's not ready. You'd be dressed up like maintenance and then pop up in his camp and just, suddenly attack the crap out of him or something. That's how you would use Captain Fairbairn's method. Okay? Or you would act like you're there to shake his hand and say, hey, I just wish for a good, clean fight. And then as he's going to shake your hand, you savagely clock him and just keep at it and take him out. That is how to do an assault. So as you can see, that's not going to be kosher. That's not cool to do in any combat sport. And once the fight starts, you can't, because the other guy's already ready. He's coming at you. So you don't do that in an assault. You don't. So and the three types of combat to me is important, because if you only have one type, like let's say you study BJJ and that's it, or it could be BJJ and wrestling and boxing and Olympic Taekwondo. So that's like what, 4 or 5 styles? All right, but you only have the sport perspective, right? Because that's all you did is sports styles. So to have a more well-balanced view of combat, so so that you could see combat from a complete view, and this is I was just talking about this, is to honestly view things and do things in martial arts. The honesty is very important. So to honestly look at combat, we need more than one perspective. Okay, so I would say a minimum of 3 perspectives. So that's why I said assault, fighting, and self-defense. So if you have those 3 perspectives, it gives you a more realistic view. Realistic mean honest view of combat itself. Okay, and so that's why to answer the is BJJ, do I think it's better than Capt Fairbairn's method? No, because we're talking about 2 different things. One is sport and the other is assault. So then I would say learn both and then add a self-defense style. Now you have three different, and this is what I call 3D training. So one from each will help you have a more realistic viewpoint. If you only do one, or I don't care if you've trained in a million styles that covers all 3 types, but if you've converted to only one and you only have that one viewpoint, then yeah, you only have one viewpoint. So it's not as encompassing. So that's what I recommend, is make sure you have a realistic viewpoint, which means a minimum of 3 styles. And each one of those styles need to be a different type. So it has to be 1 for assault, 1 for fighting, and 1 for self-defense. Minimum. Now if you do like 3 for fighting, 1 for assault, and 2 for self-defense, hey, that's great. At least, you covered. Just make sure that you don't become a convert. You could specialize in one. That's fine. Not a problem. Or have a preference. Not a problem. But don't convert. A convert will forget and disregard. Why? Because they think that the previous stuff is just not as good. They think what they're doing now is superior. And that way of thinking is a no. Is a no-go, because at least the viewpoint, all 3 need to be equal with each other. You could prefer to do sports, or you could prefer to do self-defense, or you could prefer to do assault. That's fine. But your viewpoint needs to be equal. So anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.